Being in. As I said, though, today we're talking about a wonderful organization or a religious community. I think that's a better description of it, a community that you're a part of. And as I said, as I was telling the audience earlier this morning, leading into it, Christ Baptist, growing up in Miller and just, living out there has always just been a very big fixture. It's bigger than Glen Ryan. There's just so many great people that go through there. And then I always, I've gotten to meet people over the years because they have, even way past COVID, they have been very deliberate about providing food service in the community to people that need it. And every once in a while they'll say, "Hey Jeff, come over here and get you a box." And I got me a box.
Did you get a good box?
I got a good box. They looked out for your boy. They really did. So I just very appreciate of them. Now I believe we've got on the phone the pastor emeritus, if I can say that right, Reverend Dr. Calvin Blanford. He's the founder of Christ Baptist Church. And I'm sorry for waking you up, but we're on Central Standard Time. You're calling from that great hot state of Arizona, aren't you?
No, I happen to be here in Gary.
See,
okay.
He could have come in.
You snuck up on your people.
How about that?
Yeah, you snuck up.
Your boy.
Oh, well, I appreciate you. I really do. And so you probably heard me in the opening. If hopefully I can get our volume up. Hopefully you heard me in the opening just talk about, just what a fixture Christ Baptist Church is, not only obviously for the residents. It's like an anchor in obviously Glen Ryan, but it is so much more for Northwest Indiana. So take me back a little bit to, when you founded that church and how did you know it was your calling to do so?
Well, I was a pastor at First Baptist Church in Gary for 8 years.
Yeah, I was baptized there.
Yeah, so we had some problems there,
Mm-hmm.
and so 143 people met me at 167 met me at First Church of God.
Yeah.
In the Glen Ryan area.
Yes.
Not the Glen Ryan, in the Glen Park area.
Glen Park, yes.
And we met that Saturday morning, and we organized Christ Baptist Church, and we've been going ever since. On that day, in August 1st of 1981,
Mm-hmm.
those people showed up, 167 of them, and they gave over $5,000 to start that ministry that day.
Yeah.
And, we started doing things for people at that time, and we've been doing it ever since.
No.
And I was blessed to be at Christ Baptist for 21 years.
Wow.
Before I had my first retirement in 2002. Well, I've had a couple of retirements. I'm 86 years young now.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm growing strong.
You're living your best life. We're talking to Reverend Dr. Calvin Blanford, the founder of Christ Baptist Church. I'm not going to get into kind of the minutia and everything like that, but it's kind of interesting. So you said, there were some things going on, obviously, where you previously were, and 167 people kind of reached out to you, and you all got together and founded it. Now, when you were in the process of founding Christ Baptist and coming from an institution, as you said, that obviously there were some things going on, did you kind of develop kind of a new business model or a new charge? I mean, was there something uniquely different that you wanted Christ Baptist Church to represent? Because I do know that you are absolutely in tune with the community. Was that one of the things that maybe that people were a little bit upset about, that they wanted a church that would kind of go out here and kind of go beyond the walls of just the religious aspect, really get into like helping families out and a lot of the things that you all are known for?
Well, the previous church did not have any problem really with doing anything in the community.
Yeah.
But they had a problem with doing things beyond the community. In fact, I reminded people that Jesus gave us the Great Commission to go into all the world. So
Yes.
I believe in that. Well, the main difference Christ Baptist was, we began to reach out to our brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa.
Oh.
And they sent me to Africa 5 different times. We built a church in South Africa back around 1985, 87. And they sent me back there 4 or 5 different times. My wife and I at least 3 times.
Right.
And we were able to do a whole lot there. And of course, we went to Malawi.
Yeah.
And we provided, we built a water well. People were literally washing their clothes in the river.
Yes.
they would defecate in the river.
Yeah.
And they would drink that same water.
As well as share with animals.
And that's right. And many of them were dying, that their average life expectancy was somewhere in the 40s.
Yes.
And so we built a water well in order for people for in our whole community, almost been 100 miles to be able to come and get water. And so we did a number of things like that we were not able to do at the other place, but we were able to do that as well as provide scholarships.
Yeah.
In fact, we have to support the pastors back then.
Yeah.
And this is something that's hard for some people to really wrap their mind around.
Yeah.
The pastors there did not have transportation like we have. They had bicycles.
Wow.
So they had to go to do their work on bicycles or walk.
Yeah.
Well, very few could afford bicycles. We provided 40-something bicycles. Just my first trip there.
Yeah.
And we also supplemented their salary in order for them to have a decent standard of living. So we were able to do some things beyond just the community that we were not able to do otherwise. Well,
let me ask you, because I can totally go into a whole a whole segment asking you these questions, because you brought up a time frame. And I remember this time frame, the 1985 in particular, where you really started to get the attention. I remember there was a bunch of artists internationally. They were talking about Sun City. The apartheid thing was really starting to make international news. The UN was getting involved. And so by you kind of going there as an American-led delegation and really kind of embedding yourself and saying, listen, we're going to build a place of worship. We're going to empower people. And mind you, the transition hadn't totally turned over yet. From de Klerk and that old group. So what was the environment like? I'm just curious.
De Klerk was in South Africa.
Yeah, okay. I thought you said you were in South Africa.
Yeah, we did go to South Africa and build a church, but de Klerk did not bother us. Oh, I hear what you're asking.
Yeah,
that was no problem. We had to get permission to be able to come to the country.
Yeah.
When we got there, we still were very limited in what we were able to do.
Wow.
So far as travel. But they did not bother us so far as building the church in South Africa. There's a place called 3 Day.
Yeah.
And we built that church, and I was able to go there several times. And of course, one of the interesting things back in that time, apartheid was still very strong. And any black person had to be off the streets before dark.
Yeah.
And one of the problems was we sometimes had to drive 2 or 3 hours to get to where we were going,
right,
and to get back to the city and to the one hotel we could stay in the city before dark was a problem. And I recall one Sunday afternoon, we left a church service. Our car stopped on the road. We were not able to move an inch.
Wow.
Well, some white folks came by and they heckled us a while.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they didn't bother us. A couple of young men came by in a much smaller car.
Right.
And they stopped. And so we were driving a Mercedes. Now, you may say, how people afford a Mercedes? Well, that's about the only car that was available.
Yeah.
Anyway, they took the battery out of their little car,
right,
put it in our car, and we were able to drive back into Joburg, as they call it, just as it was getting dark. So we were blessed to be able to do that. Yeah, apartheid was very strong back then. Well, I appreciate.
Like I said, I could talk to you about that all day, but I also want to defer to a friend of mine, and I know you know this young lady who is in studio kind of representing Miss Tammy Davis. I want to bring her into the conversation. First of all, what's going on, T-Money?
Just the tea is fine. Good morning, Pastor Blanford. Good morning to you and Mrs. Blanford.
Now, Tammy, tell us about, Christ Baptist and your involvement. As I said, I could talk to you. We're going to get you on here, talk about your other hats that you wear, but we're celebrating Christ Baptist today. So kind of tell us about your involvement and how you got involved with the church.
Yeah, so I've been a member of Christ Baptist Church now for well over 15 years.
Wow.
And I am happy to be one of the co-chairs leading this year's celebration of our 43rd anniversary.
Wow.
And so we're really excited that Pastor Blanford will be coming to bring the word on this Sunday, August the 11th at 10 a.m. at Christ Baptist.
Right.
He will kick off our Friends and Family Day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a family reunion, and we want individuals that were baptized by him, ordained by him, loved by him. He kissed their babies, you know, he gave them birthday presents, you know. He's probably the godfather to a million kids, both in Gary as well as internationally. But we want everybody to come back home. We want everybody to come back home next Sunday so we can just fellowship in the building that he organized, those 163 people to actually accommodate that edifice. So we're really excited about that. My co-chairs, Leslie Dillon, who you may know.
Yeah.
She's getting her doctorate degree in Ohio.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of her. And my other co-chair is Maxine Weaver,
Oh.
who also comes from academia here. So we're really excited to have this opportunity to celebrate.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little presumptuous here. Is Christ Baptist the smart people's church? Is that what's going on here? All these.
It's God's people's church.
No,
And
I'm just messing with you
God's
all.
people's
I'm just
church.
messing with you all.
People like that to be a part of the fellowship. The vast majority of people are ordinary folks.
Yeah.
You can't tell one from the other when they all get together.
No.
One from the other.
No.
It's all about Jesus at that point.
At that point. And so kind of tell us a little bit what some of the activities. So what's Sunday looking like? As you said, you're the co-chair. I'm sure you give us without giving everything away. We want people obviously to come out and join in the festivities. But what you got any special activities planned for that Sunday?
Yeah, we have a really special presentation that will be going on where we will be honoring some of the founders that signed that organizational agreement that Pastor Blanford was mentioning. We want to capture their stories.
Yeah.
Like what it was like.
Right.
You know, being starting out with Wednesday prayer and I think it was every Wednesday you were meeting at another church.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday, Pastor Blanford. So we were able to chronicle via video a lot of those founders. And so we lost, many people during the pandemic and even post the pandemic, and some that have just gone on to glory naturally. But those that are remaining, we have been very diligent in capturing their stories in a video. So we're going to have a very special presentation about that. I didn't even know if you knew that, Pastor Blanford. So we're going to have a very special presentation. Surprise! Right, surprise! So we have some of those that we're capturing on video and some other great things. And then on Sunday, August the 18th is where we're going to actually have our anniversary celebration where Pastor James Robinson from St. James Church will be giving the message. So we're spreading the love within our community, and we've got some other great things planned. But you got to be there.
You got to be there.
You got to be there to see it.
Absolutely.
You got to be there to experience it.
It sounds great. So I want to ask you, Dr. Blanford, because she brought up something, and I don't want you to give away from the presentation and things like that, but I kind of want to get back into your head because you're an amazing guy. When we were just talking about a part, what was it like when when you went out there and started this church? Because from sometimes a lot of us on the outside, I say civilians, but we're all like children of Christ, and we're all believing the same thing. But when you're going out here and kind of breaking away, and you are kind of shepherding your own group of people who are looking to you to kind of create another spiritual environment so they can make their new home. I mean, was that a little bit risky? I don't want to get into, obviously, the politics and maybe how some of your contemporaries at the time thought, but what was the mentality behind that? I mean, that was kind of a big risk on your part, I take it.
And people were very excited. As Tommy mentioned, I think it was Friendship Baptist Church. We had those Wednesday night meetings. There were about 40-something of us meeting there, and it was exciting every Wednesday. People looked forward to it.
Yeah.
And then when people needed any counseling or people in the hospital, they still got ministered to during the week. And when people, I recall one night after we got through with our regular Bible study, one of my members mentioned that she just gotten a notice that her taxes had not been paid, and because of that, she was going to lose her house as of the next day if she didn't have a certain amount of money.
Right.
Well, we took up a special offering.
Yeah.
And gave it to her, and she was able to save her house. We reached out to each other then, and I'm sure Christ Baptist is still doing the same kind of thing now.
Amen.
And so we were very excited about being able to come together every week. And then, of course, on Sundays,
right,
a different church, a different established church invited this a group of folks that they referred to us as the church in the wilderness. Because for 26 weeks, we did not have a regular church home.
Right.
We were invited to a different church. You named the church in Gary, the Baptist church. We probably was invited there at least one time during the 26 weeks. It was after those 26 weeks that we finally organized on Saturday, November, on Saturday, August 1st, 1981, and we had our first service where we are now.
Yes.
The third Sunday in November 1981. The church was packed out. 43 people joined that Sunday morning, and in the first year of being in our own facility, 444 folks joined Christ Baptist Church, and we were able to give food baskets. We were able to give $100 vouchers to people to be able to go buy whatever food they wanted to buy at whatever store. We were able to do a lot of things, and we were able to bless a lot of people, and a lot of people were able to bless us. And let me just say this too.
Yeah.
We believe we had a civic and social action consciousness back then too. And Charlie Brown,
we know him very well.
Oh yeah. He was very involved. In fact, his wife was a member. He was not a member, but he came very often, and he was very supportive, and we were able to get some things done. We were blessed to give scholarships.
Yeah.
We were blessed to do other things that we felt needed to be done, and our people were excited about doing them.
You know, as I'm listening to that story, it's very exciting because obviously this is telling the story of your journey and the journey of those people who helped found Christ Baptist Church, but it's also a metaphorical journey about life, sometimes taking that leap of faith and going out here and surrounding yourself with people that support you. And then, as you pointed out, which I think is really cool, and I'm glad people heard, is that their Baptist community in this area supported you all for those 26 weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Churches that I had never been to before.
Yeah.
Pastor gave me a call, said, come and preach for me this coming Sunday. And every time we would come and preach, we had two offering baskets. One offering basket was for the whole church.
Right.
So we wanted to be a blessing to them, because they were a blessing to us. And the other offering was for tithe and offering for Christ Baptist. So we were able to be a blessing and to receive a blessing at the same time. And for 26 weeks in a row,
yes,
we were blessed to be in a church where we were the guests.
That was awesome. That is awesome. I want to go to you, Tammy. I know we're pressed for time, but I mean, when you hear all this, and I know obviously you know these stories, you're helping putting this wonderful thing together, but what are some of the things that come to your mind? And I mean, you kind of bring it into the big scope of what you're trying to do in your professional career with the foundation and bringing hope and all this kind of unity together in our country.
Well, I think our theme this year for our church anniversary, which is Planted for a Purpose.
Yeah.
And it's coming from the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verses 1 through 3, is literally that we were planted for a purpose. And everything that Pastor Blanford just mentioned just echoes that Christ Baptist Church was planted in the community for a purpose. But the broader community as well.
Yeah.
And our mission is to seek, find, and do the will of God, not within the four walls of the church building, but is to seek, find, and do the will of God all across this nation. And I think that for me personally, that is my calling.
Yeah.
I have the great benefit and favor to work in my mission, to minister in my mission, and to live my mission. So I think it all comes together. And, we're just excited that we're going to be able to do what the Word of God says, which is to proclaim the good news, to bind up the brokenhearted, to set the captives free. And we're going to honor and recognize the great work and the foundation that Pastor Blanford set.
Yes.
And we're going to continue that. And that's why we're here today. We want to make sure that everyone that listens to your show, because I know they hear it also in Chicago.
Yeah.
So my coworkers already know I'm on the radio this morning. So, and they know that Tammy is all about her church. So, it's just important, again, about going outside of the four walls and doing the mission that we are all called to do, regardless of whether we're a member of a church, that we are all called to be good disciples.
Well, I want to get some last words, obviously, from Dr. Blanford. But before you forget, give us the logistics once again, times and things like that, so people can put that into their phones, put it on their calendars so they can get there.
Yeah, so everybody grab your phones, get out your Google calendars, get your Microsoft Outlook calendars out. Put Sunday, August 11th at 10 a.m. at Christ Baptist Church. Come to our family reunion. We call it a Family and Friends Day, so I'm calling it a family reunion. Come back home, see your people, and hear the great message from Pastor Blanford. Christ Baptist Church is located at 4700 East 7th Avenue, right across the tracks in Glen Ryan. Come on back home. And then on Sunday, August the 18th, come and hear Pastor James Robinson give the message for our anniversary service. Come home, come home, come home.
You are about to shut down Clay Street that Sunday, aren't you? So I'm going to have to get my groceries. I'm going to have to get my groceries earlier.
That's right. We want there to be no parking available. Come on home to our family reunion.
Here you go, son. Now I want to go to you, Reverend Dr. Calvin Blanford. I just want to tell you it's been an absolute privilege to talk to you. I definitely would love to pick your brain just about, those journeys into Africa during that period of time. We'll talk later. You got plenty of time. We're going to get together. But any last words that you want to tell the folks that are listening?
Yes, I would like for us to be reminded of the fact that we are in a very crisis situation in our country. And this election is, I would say, the most important election during my lifetime and maybe since the Civil War. And we got to make sure that we get registered to vote, that we do the voting. And I thank God that when I was at Christ Baptist, we had voter registration, we had letters to elected officials. We went to the state capitol to speak for and against certain legislation. We had candidate forums where candidates come on say like a Tuesday, Wednesday night and be able to give their views and be questioned by the audience. I'm going to encourage people to make sure that you are registered to vote, that you vote, because this year is a tremendously important year. Your vote counts. And the history of our country, our democracy is on the line. And I'm encouraging every single person to make sure that you register your vote, to make sure that people know that you are in, not out, so far as what we are concerned about getting done, which is preserving our democracy.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Once again, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. I might shoot up there on Sunday.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. I want to thank Tammy as always. I got to get you back here and talk about your other job. Yeah. Of course, I want to thank you, Witt, and just everybody watching. We're going to get ready to take a break. When we come back, I'll get you updated with the news. You're listening to Wake Up GI with Jeffrey